So while social media can be a great way to connect, let's be honest, it can also be disastrous for your relationship.
Looking at these seemingly perfect couples online could interfere with how you handle your own love life. So joining us right now is psychiatrist, author, and host of WeTV's Marriage Boot Camp. We're talking Dr. Ish Major. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
We're doing okay. Haven't been on social media a lot, so that's probably a good thing. But break it down for us. So many times we see these beautiful photos of these loving couples that make you want to puke because you just know it's not real, right? Am I right on this? Is it real?
Yeah, half of it's real, half of it's not. But the thing is, we don't know. So if they were going to post also what you did immediately before and immediately after that pic, I might start to believe it.
Gotcha.
And Dr. Major, it's not that it may not be real, but it's probably a moment captured in the length of a relationship that has a lot of ups and downs, right? Social media is the highlight reel. So what are some of the unrealistic expectations that social media has us putting on our relationships?
Right. So this is one of those examples where you just have to stop letting other people run your relationships, right? If your partner is so captivated by what other couples are doing on their dates, then they should go out on dates with other couples. Right? This is another case of rom-comosis, right? This is a case of rom-comosis. We compare our life to the fantasy world, what we see in romantic comedies, and when what we have in reality doesn't match up, it makes us miserable.
It's like when you're watching, a romantic comedy with your significant other, and you're like, why don't you do that? He does that,
Exactly.
So, but what if you're a private person, but your partner isn't a private person and really wants to put all of that out there on social media? How do you balance that?
Listen, so this could be a problem. If your relationship doesn't work for both of you, then it's not working for either of you, right? A relationship is between two people, and the best relationships have the best boundaries. When it comes to me and you, there's some things we're going to do. There's some things we're going to say to each other. There's some things we're not. There's some things we're going to do with each other. Some things we're not. There's some things we're going to post and some things we're not. Your love is unconditional, but your post, absolutely not.
I love what you just said there. You dropped some knowledge. You said if your relationship is not working for you, it is not working for both of you.
Yes.
It is key to know that.
Right.
And Dr. Major, this is, excuse me, something you touched on before. Not everything is meant for social media, but we know there are some partners who are constantly living for social media instead of living in the real world. Even if they're out on a date, they want to post everything. What do you do when you're in that type of a relationship?
This is a problem. If you're going through life looking for the evidence to support the worth of your own experience, it's like looking for kitten videos when you're doom scrolling on Twitter. There's never going to be enough of them to help you feel better, right? It's just not, right? So what are you posting for? For validation? Are you doing it for business purposes? You're looking for outside validation for an internal fulfillment, and you've got it backwards. You don't fill your life up from the outside in, you fill it up from the inside out.
So how do we turn it around? What do you do then? Instead of taking that photo of the food or yourself together at dinner, what should you do instead?
So you have to have a very adult conversation with your partner, right? And say, listen, I understand what you're doing, but if you're choosing to live your life out loud online, then you need to understand there may come a day where I choose to live my life without you.
Ooh,
and that's where it is. Because we can never change them. We can only set our standards. If you don't set your standards, how do you know when somebody's falling below that?
Right. That is true. That is true. Facts. So, Dr. Major, sometimes how we react to what we see on social media is a bit of us looking at a mirror of ourselves, right? Some of the things we're triggered by can give us an indication of maybe what we need to address with a professional like yourself, whether it's seeing someone traveling or even seeing babies on social media, depending on where you are in your own relationship. So how do you kind of suss that out to find the balance and how we react to what we see on social media?
Yeah, so the trick with social media is you've got to have something to share, right? The studies will say if you're scrolling, and that's fine, but unless you also have something to share, it's also going to cause this thing called social media depression, social media anxiety. And so you've always got to do a reality check, right? How do I feel today? Do you want to measure it on a scale of 1 to 10? Do you want to have a smile factor? How many smiles did I put out there in the world today? So you always want to know. When folks come to me, there's always a specific issue, a specific area in their life that's not going well, whether it's relationship, whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's family. And then from there, we start to work our way back.
But
if you're showing up more days than not and you're not feeling happy, then it's time to talk to somebody like me.
That's a good indication. I would say, Dr. Major, though, doesn't social media in its existence alone really kind of drive up that competitive nature, right? Because we're seeing how many people liked it, how many people follow us, how many people leave comments. With that being the case, you want to see your friends, right? Because a lot of times we're in a pandemic. This is the only way we can check in and see who is having a baby, who's getting married, who just got engaged. But that can all be very depressing if that's not where your life is going.
It can be if that's not where your life is going. And so again, you've got to be able to get that reality check and take those friends who you're kind of keeping tabs on online and take that offline. We've all got that close circle of tight girlfriends, tight guy friends. Now you pick up the phone and you call to double check, right? We're going to fact check this story, just like you guys do before you come on the news every morning. We're going to fact check this. How delicious was that dinner, or am I just making and imagining this thing in my mind? So you can always do it in a couple of different areas. That way you're fact checking their life and it's a reality check.
Oh, that's so good.
So, Dr. Major, we talked a lot about the bad, right? We talked about how it can negatively impact us. We talked about how it can be a flag in letting us know what our triggers are. But what are some of the good things about social media? I know I love to see the representation. There are a lot of social media sites that are promoting Black love, interracial love. What are some of the good things we can get from social media?
Well, so now we're talking about the echo chamber, right? You know, our social media feeds are a reflection of our life and the people we know in it. And so that's a cool thing because it's validating. It's like, hey, I'm not the only one who's going through this today. I'm not the only one who's freezing my butt off in New York today. I'm not the only one who's getting aggravated by what happened yesterday. And so that's a cool thing. And it gets, you're right, and it helps us feel connected and plugged in. And Lord knows after 2020, the thing we really want from any relationship is to feel that connection.
Yes.
So that's one of the good things.
Absolutely. I want to bring in the team. It's all ladies show today. I know Oda, she's got a question for you.
Oh, hi, doctor. So I have a question. You're so great at what you do. So people always come to you for their life issues, life problems, and you're human. So you also have your own issues. So when you have an issue, doctor, do you sit in front of a mirror and say to yourself, this is my issue, and then answer back to yourself? Or do you go to someone else?
You know what? I go to somebody else.
Really?
And right, because it's so hard to look in the mirror and tell yourself the truth, right? And so you need that external mirror to reflect back to you what's going on. And so, you know, my suggestion, every really good therapist and psychiatrist also has a really good therapist of their own to make sure that they keep themselves in check. Right now, what I personally do for me every morning, I've got a list of things on my mirror, and as I'm brushing my teeth, I read through those. It's a lovability list. What am I loving about myself today? Is it my smile? Is it my clean hair?
Fresh cut.
Right? What are those things today? Because it's got to be a constant reminder, because it's so easy to get the negative narrative running in your head. You've got to combat that with a positive narrative, and that's got to be a very intentional thing that you do.
Oh,
Okay, thank you, doctor.
I like it.
I'm going to make
You're
a list
welcome.
now.
Yeah, we need to start writing on our mirrors, clearly.
I know.
Well, doctor, that is so fantastic, and thank you for keeping us in check and bringing the reality to it, because a lot of times we do get lost on the social media grind where you're just like, oh my goodness, look at all these people. They're living their life, and here I am.
The thing to remember is you get to live your life on your terms, nobody else's, right? What's fine for them is fine for them, but you get to decide what's fine for you in your love life.
Well, you are helping us along our way. Thank you so much. So great to see you. Will you come back?
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. We can't wait to see you again.
Thanks, doctor.
Bye-bye.